One photo, that's all it took to send shockwaves through the entire WNBA. While everyone was focused on the game highlights and final scores, the real story was unfolding in a tunnel beneath Barclays Center. Caitlin Clark, surrounded by New York Liberty superstars Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, their coach Sandy Brondello, and most importantly, her agent Erin Kane.
You can see, and this is one of the more important things. You see this right here? You see this right here? This is Caitlin's agent. This is Caitlin Clark's agent.
This wasn't a casual post-game chat between competitors. This was the opening move in what might be the most calculated power play in women's basketball history. What you're about to discover goes far beyond trade rumors or contract disputes. We're talking about a systematic dismantling of how the WNBA operates, orchestrated by one of the most ruthless agents in sports. A plan so intricate that it's using the league's own rulebook rewrite to engineer the biggest move in WNBA history. If you want to understand how the game is really played behind the scenes, hit that like button and let's dive into the master plan that's about to flip everything upside down. The photo went viral instantly. Clark in the tunnel, deep in conversation with Liberty's core, while her agent stood nearby like a chess master surveying the board. Fans immediately started speculating about tampering, about recruiting, about what was really being discussed in that underground meeting. But they were missing the bigger picture entirely. This wasn't tampering. This was theater. Perfectly orchestrated visual storytelling designed to send a message that would reverberate through every front office in the league. The message was simple: Caitlin Clark has options, and her representation isn't afraid to explore them publicly. The timing wasn't accidental either. This photo surfaced right as the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement negotiations were heating up, creating the perfect storm of leverage and opportunity. But here's what makes this truly genius. While everyone debated whether Clark was being recruited by New York, the real conversation was happening in boardrooms across the country. Every executive, every owner, every coach suddenly had to confront an uncomfortable reality. The league's biggest star, the player single-handedly driving unprecedented ratings and revenue, might not be as locked into her current situation as they thought. The architect behind this calculated chaos is Erin Kane of Excel Sports Management, and her track record speaks volumes about the kind of power play she's capable of orchestrating. Kane isn't just any agent. She's the representation behind some of the most strategic career moves in women's sports, and her public statements about Clark's situation have been nothing short of explosive. Kane recently made headlines by stating that Clark may never be paid what she's truly worth to the WNBA, a comment that sent ripples through the league's financial structure. But that was just the beginning. She followed up by calling for the WNBA to completely separate from the NBA, suggesting the women's league should operate independently to maximize its potential. These aren't casual observations from a player representative. These are calculated statements from someone preparing to reshape an entire industry. What makes Kane particularly dangerous to the status quo is her understanding of timing and leverage. She knows that the current CBA expires at the end of the 2025 season, and she knows that the Players Association opted out of the existing agreement in October 2024. That means every rule governing player movement, salary structures, and team control is currently up for negotiation. And Kane has positioned her most valuable client right at the center of those discussions. The brilliance of Kane's strategy becomes clear when you understand what's really at stake in these CBA negotiations. This isn't just about salary increases or better benefits. This is about fundamentally altering the power balance between players and teams. And Clark's very public dissatisfaction with her current situation has become the poster child for why those changes are necessary. Consider the leverage this creates. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth, largely driven by Clark's popularity and the attention she brings to every game. Television ratings are through the roof, attendance is breaking records, and merchandise sales have exploded. The league has never been more valuable, and everyone knows that Clark is the primary catalyst for this success. Now imagine you're sitting across from league executives in a CBA negotiation, and your star client is making public appearances with rival teams while expressing concerns about her current situation. Suddenly, every proposal for increased player mobility, shorter restricted free agency periods, and enhanced player empowerment carries the implicit threat that the league's golden goose might fly away if these changes aren't implemented. But Kane's masterstroke goes even deeper than simple negotiation tactics. She's not just threatening to move Clark eventually. She's creating a framework that will benefit every superstar in the league for years to come. The changes being pushed for in these CBA talks won't just help Clark escape Indiana if she chooses to. They'll give every elite player more control over their destiny, more power to shape their careers, and more leverage against teams that take their talents for granted. The cracks in Clark's relationship with the Indiana Fever have been building all season, providing the perfect foundation for Kane's strategy. The injury management situation alone has created enough public tension to fuel months of speculation. When Clark suffered multiple injuries this season, including significant quad and groin problems, the handling of her condition became a source of visible frustration. The breaking point came when Clark was clearly emotional on the bench after aggravating her groin injury, and her coach described it to the media as Clark feeling a little something in her groin. For a player known for her incredible durability and competitive fire, having her pain minimized in such a dismissive way was more than just poor communication. It was a public signal that perhaps her well-being wasn't being taken as seriously as it should be. These incidents aren't just unfortunate miscommunications. They're ammunition for an agent building a case that her client needs a change of scenery. Every dismissive comment, every questionable injury decision, every moment of visible frustration becomes another piece of evidence that Clark deserves better than what she's getting in Indiana. The strategic differences on the court have added another layer to this growing tension. Clark has been vocal about wanting the ball in her hands more, particularly in transition situations where she's most dangerous. Her public comments about needing better ball movement and more opportunities to control the offense weren't diva demands. They were a generational talent trying to help her team unlock her full potential. Instead of embracing these suggestions, the coaching staff has maintained their preference for multiple ball handlers and expressed concerns about Clark playing under duress for extended periods. This philosophical disconnect between a superstar player and her coaching staff is exactly the type of irreconcilable difference that drives trades in professional sports. The New York Liberty connection isn't just about geography or market size. It's about basketball fit, championship potential, and the kind of supporting cast that could maximize Clark's historic talents. The Liberty have already proven they can win championships, capturing the 2024 title with a core group that includes Stewart and Ionescu. More importantly, New York represents everything that Indiana currently doesn't. They have established superstars who understand how to share the spotlight, a coaching staff with championship experience, and an organization that has consistently put winning above everything else. For a player like Clark, who has achieved everything possible in college basketball except a championship, the opportunity to join a proven winner would be incredibly appealing. The relationships matter too. That tunnel conversation wasn't just about basketball strategy or recruitment pitches. It was about Clark getting a first-hand look at what it would be like to play alongside players who truly understand the level of excellence she brings to every game. Stewart and Ionescu aren't intimidated by Clark's success. They're energized by the possibility of adding her talents to their championship foundation. From a pure basketball perspective, the fit makes perfect sense. Clark's incredible range and playmaking ability would complement Stewart's inside-outside versatility and Ionescu's dynamic scoring perfectly. The Liberty could create the most potent offensive attack in WNBA history, while still maintaining the defensive intensity that helped them win their first championship. Now we get to the heart of Kane's master plan, the strategy that ties all these pieces together into one coordinated assault on the league's traditional power structure. The genius isn't in any single move. It's in how every action builds toward the same ultimate goal, giving Clark complete control over her basketball future. The tunnel photo created public pressure and media attention. The injury situation built a narrative of organizational dysfunction. The strategic disagreements highlighted philosophical differences that seem impossible to resolve. And through it all, the CBA negotiations have provided the perfect vehicle to transform these individual grievances into league-wide policy changes. Kane isn't just trying to get Clark traded. She's trying to rewrite the rules so that elite players never have to beg for trades again. The CBA changes being negotiated could include shorter restricted free agency periods, enhanced player input on coaching decisions, improved injury protocols, and dozens of other modifications that would give players more leverage in their relationships with teams. If successful, this strategy accomplishes multiple objectives simultaneously. Clark gets the framework she needs to eventually join a championship-caliber organization like New York. Other superstars get the tools they need to avoid similar situations with their own teams. And Kane establishes herself as the agent who fundamentally changed how the WNBA operates, ensuring that future negotiations will always include her voice in the conversation. The timeline is perfect too. The current CBA expires after the 2025 season, which coincides with Clark's third year in the league. By then, she'll have enough experience to make informed decisions about her future, enough leverage to demand changes, and enough public support to weather any criticism that comes with leaving her drafted team. What makes this strategy particularly brilliant is how it uses the league's own success against the traditional power structure. The WNBA has never been more popular, more profitable, or more culturally relevant than it is right now. Much of that success is directly attributable to Clark's impact on the sport. League executives know this, Team owners know this, and most importantly, other players know this. That creates a situation where denying Clark's requests for CBA changes becomes almost impossible to justify. How do you tell the player who's driving unprecedented growth that she doesn't deserve more control over her career? How do you maintain restrictive policies that could potentially drive away the talent responsible for your record-breaking success? Kane has essentially created a scenario where the league has to choose between maintaining the status quo and protecting their most valuable asset. And when you frame the choice that starkly, the outcome becomes inevitable. The ripple effects of this strategy will extend far beyond Clark's individual situation. Every superstar watching these negotiations is learning valuable lessons about how to leverage their own value against league restrictions. The precedent being set here will influence contract negotiations, trade demands, and career decisions for years to come. We're potentially witnessing the birth of true player empowerment in women's basketball. The kind of leverage and control that male athletes have wielded for decades is finally coming to the WNBA. And Clark's situation is the test case that's making it all possible. The most fascinating aspect of this entire saga is how it's being executed in plain sight. Every move has been public, every statement has been calculated, and every decision has been designed to build maximum pressure while maintaining plausible deniability. Kane isn't hiding her strategy. She's showcasing it as a demonstration of power to everyone else in the league. That tunnel photo wasn't just about Clark and the Liberty. It was a message to every other agent, every other superstar, and every other front office that the old rules no longer apply. The days of players simply accepting whatever situation they're drafted into are over. The era of true player empowerment has arrived, and Caitlin Clark is leading the revolution. The question now isn't whether Clark will eventually leave Indiana. The question is whether the changes she's helping to implement through these CBA negotiations will fundamentally alter how the entire league operates. Based on the chess moves we've seen so far, that transformation is already well underway.